Hello, are you going on a road trip soon? Hey, you guys, my name is Lindsay and I am with Perfectly Pastry. Who is Perfectly Pastry? We are a local bakery in Waterloo, Illinois. How are you doing today? All right, so it was so funny because I'll just tell you in a minute. Okay, let me get through my spiel. All right. If you guys watch me live, use a heart. Let me know you watch me live. If you're watching me on replay, use #replay. And if it's the first time you've ever caught me, drop a number 1. Let me know, like, hey, it's actually the first time I've ever caught you live. All right, now I'll tell you my story. So for starters, this light is causing issues. Look at my eyes. I have these like big, yeah, my husband's like, you need to put it above you and like point it down. And I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, now I gotta find my, like, I have a tripod. I don't know, my kids take all my stuff. I found my tripod. So I have this tripod and I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll have to look at my tripod and stuff. And he's like, you know, you are the only person who shoots videos, has been shooting them for years, and probably every single time you create a video, you have to reset up. He was like, most people who are shooting videos leave their stuff alone and then just like come in and shoot videos. Do I do that? No, I don't. I literally recreate the scene every single time. He was like, you should put some of that like permanently in there so that you can easily find it and have it in the right spot and you're not making adjustments all the time. The problem is my desk, like one of my kiddos does virtual visits with her doctor. And so I give her my desk. And so like I have to like put my board down so she's not knocking it down, and I have to move some of the electronics because then she's like trying to turn on lights and all these things when she's doing her visits with her doctor. And so I'm like, well, honey, I can't just leave that up. And he was like, well, we need to find a different solution. He's like, you cannot completely tear down your setup and put it all back together every single week. Like, you're going to have to like find a centralized location. I mean, I had totally started upping my game. Like, we got StreamYard, which is like why I have like that ribbon, this way, and that logo. And I really love the software that I use. Like, I absolutely love it. I do pay $25 a month. There is a free version, but the free version is not an easy click and go. And I really like the fact that it's click and go. Like, I can turn off the banner. I can, like, I have this where we have many options that vary in the store. You know, like I can do all of these little things and I can, turn that one off. And I can like change it, and then I can like add logos. Like, I can do a lot of things with it. And so I absolutely love StreamYard. So like I got that, and look at that, it made my videos better. And then I bought all these pictures and I put them up behind me because if you remember, I had like a blank wall behind me for like the longest time. As a matter of fact, I did it by my window for the longest time just because I have palm trees outside my window. And so it was a pretty view, right? But like the lighting was terrible when I did it like that. And I'm not going to lie, at one point, like I have a table now that I use. At one point, I was doing it on a TV tray. I had a TV tray, and every week I'd set my TV tray up and I would get a chair and I would sit in front of the computer. At one point I was doing it on my phone. And my husband was like, you have got to stop doing it on your phone. Like, just seriously stop. So whatever, I stopped doing it on my phone. And like these guys back here, I love the fact, I think I spent like 25 bucks on this stuff. Like, these are posters from Target, and then all the frames were on clearance. I was so excited. Like, seriously, 25 bucks for the whole wall. It was so exciting. So like I've got my game, so but I'm still learning as I go, like all of these things that I need to do. Like, I need to have a permanent setup for my lighting. Whatever. If not, you get things like these shadows. And I guess if I got real close to you, no, it's still there. Like, please don't get so close to the camera. Whatever. All right. Enough of my setup. I've been thinking about that for a couple of days because my husband's been giving me a hard time about the fact that I literally tear down and put back together every single week. He's like, stop doing that. Anyways, I want to remind everybody that Teacher Appreciation Week is May 2nd through May 6th. If you're like, oh my goodness, I completely forgot, I really want to get something this year for the teachers, definitely let us know. We have all kinds of variety of things that you can order for some of the teachers to tell them thank you. I do want to let you know that Mother's Day also is right around the corner, and we will have chocolate covered strawberries in the shop for Mother's Day as well. I'm really excited because the lemon coconut gooey butter is back in the shop. Yes, that was my idea. So those of you who are like, oh my gosh, it was so good. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yes, yes. I'm so modest, aren't I? And the other really big thing that's happening that we are booking really quickly for are graduation orders. So if you are wanting to order something for graduation, you need to go ahead and let us know ahead of time. We got a ton of calls yesterday and we started booking up. As a matter of fact, I found out a couple of schools are having graduations on this, like pretty much the same weekend. So the orders are booking up really quickly. So if you're wanting to look into that, definitely give us a call and let's start getting you on the books. All right. So as you know, my whole topic is going to be about road trips. Are you going on a road trip? Okay. So it comes as no secret. If you've watched any of my lives before, you already know that my shop is in Waterloo and I live in Florida. That is correct. I run Perfectly Pastry with my mom and my sister. We are located in Waterloo, Illinois, and my mom and my sister both are in Illinois, and I am down in Florida. As a matter of fact, I lived in Florida when we decided to open a bakery. There was a whole plan that was not going to end up there. It was going to end up down here. That's not why I moved to Florida. We relocated. My husband relocated to Florida before we ever started the business. Before we ever started the business. And then I got this bright idea about how I was going to own a business. And then next thing you know, I own a business in Waterloo. So, you know, that happens. Anyways, that being said, I travel with my family back up north to see my family. So every year around this time, my nieces come down and visit, which I am so excited because I think we're at like 35 days or 34 days. I don't know. My niece has been texting me nonstop about it, but the next vacation is not Memorial Day for us. The next vacation is Haley and Ray Ray arrival day. So we're really excited about that. And obviously I then have to get my nieces back up to Illinois. And so I actually drive every single year because I need a vehicle when I'm up there. I have an 8-passenger vehicle. So my vehicle is big enough to like carry everybody with me. And so somebody flies down every year and drives back up north with me with the kiddos. The kiddos are not old enough to drive. And even if they were, I do not think that I could sit back and relax and let a 16-year-old drive me back to Illinois. Some of you guys may be able to do that. My anxiety is way too high for that. I already cannot relax in a vehicle, let alone if my niece or my daughter was driving. That would not happen. So I fly somebody down here to drive back up with me every single time. Now, last year, I actually drove back by myself with my kids. We did a 2-day trip. Like we stayed, I got all the way past Atlanta, and then outside of Atlanta, the kids and I got a hotel room, and then we got a good night's sleep, and then we headed out the next morning. So I did do that. I don't know how I'm going to do it this year. I may attempt to do it as a 2-day drive. I may not. I probably won't. I'm not going to lie. So I get really excited to go back. And so I don't want to take 2 days to go back because then I'm like, oh no, it's cutting into my time, right? Because I have a limited amount of time. My kids have to go back to school. There's a time limit for me, and I get like, oh, I'm missing out. So I probably won't drive up by myself because I don't want to have to sleep over. But I probably will try to attempt driving back by myself like I did last year. So it'll be interesting because my eldest won't be with me. So I'll have the 2 younger ones by myself. So we'll see how that goes. But with that being said, we do lots of road trips. We did a lot of road trips when I was a kid. My mom, my sister and I, we lived in Texas. The rest of my family lived in Missouri. We drove back and forth from Texas to Missouri a lot. So I have a lot of experience with road trips. As a matter of fact, my in-laws live in Chicago. I lived in Chicago for a little bit. I drove back and forth from St. Louis to Chicago with my eldest as a baby by myself all the time. Road trips, they're my jam. I don't really like them, but I have no qualms about actually doing them. I go on tons of road trips. My mom goes on tons of road trips. My sister goes on tons of road trips, right? So I thought, all right, it is almost summertime and we're all going to start taking road trips. What is it that we typically pack when we go on road trips? So I thought I would share with you guys some of the things that like we always pack on our road trips. Okay. A long audiobook. Actually, I've listened to some short audiobooks, but if you have short audiobooks, you kind of have to think like how many hours is the book and how long is the drive? Because the last thing you want is one book for an 18-hour drive. You might be like, okay, what am I going to do? Because as a driver, it's not like you can do a whole lot of things, right? So a book. I will hands down always suggest first and foremost Outlander to anybody. And you might not like it. It is a historical romance, but it is my all-time favorite book series in the world. I absolutely love it. My mom loves it. We watched the show. We've read all the books. Okay. So I would definitely suggest Outlander, and Outlander is like a 20-hour listen. My husband and I, when we drive to Disney, we have been listening to a lot of Star Wars books. So I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. So that sounds weird because I never really got into Star Wars like main movies, nor any of the really new movies. However, we read Black Spire, which is about the land that they opened up at the Disney parks, Batuu, and I really enjoyed those books. And then we started reading the Thrawn series. Oh my goodness. I really, really love the Thrawn books. That's the ones that we've been listening to most recently. I absolutely love them. And I really like some of the spinoff shows. Like, I love Mandalorian. Like, it is one of my favorite. I did watch the Book of Boba Fett. It was okay. It wasn't my favorite. I absolutely loved Mandalorian, but I still liked it. But now I'm like, okay, maybe I should go back and I should watch the movies. Maybe I would enjoy some of those movies and stuff. So I don't know. I guess I'm a weird Star Wars fan because I like some of the off-character stories and not necessarily the main stories. But that's neither here nor there. But if you want another good book, I really enjoyed the Thrawn series. So, okay, I know I totally went down a rabbit hole there. Yes. So a good long audiobook. My sister's like, if you don't want to do an audiobook, she highly suggests murder podcasts. My sister loves murder podcasts, and I did not write the name of the podcast down that they listen to. And they being my mom, my sister, and my sister has my mom and I listen to it. Murder Junkies. I think it's called Murder Junkies. And it's not bad. The story, it's very much like an audiobook. Like they tell you all the stories and stuff. It's not like a typical podcast, but podcasts are definitely something if you like, oh, I don't have a book, podcast. The problem with podcasts is I tend to listen to the same podcast and they're about usually one main topic. And so I also am kind of a nerd and I want to like take notes and I can't do that when I'm driving. And then like it just kind of all blends together in my head. So sometimes I like to break it up with a good story. We have to pack Dramamine in our car, and my sister. And my mom's like, don't say the next one, puke bags. We have to have puke bags. My daughter gets car sick really, really easy. And so does one of my sister's daughters. To the point that, like, seriously, by Atlanta, one of my kids is just like puking everywhere. I'm like, oh my goodness. So Dramamine is definitely something that we have to pack in the car. As a matter of fact, there's like, we play like musical chairs. Like my daughter cannot sit in the back seat and she cannot sit in the middle. So she has to sit on one of the sides, which means that the youngest has to go in the back. And then the older ones are crowded because the youngest is in the back. And then the two older ones have to split, and it's a big deal, whatever. But we have to do it because if not, it is not fun. And my sister's daughter is the same way. So we have Dramamine in our vehicle at all times. Well, she and I do, because those kids just, they can't help it. And it's kind of funny, like my eldest doesn't get too sick usually, and my youngest never does. And I don't think Haley gets car sick either. Brianna every once in a while, my eldest, but I don't think Haley does. Snacks. I mean, seriously, how can you go on a road trip without snacks? We have packed some crazy snacks. Sometimes I will pack a full cooler. Look, I have 5 kids with me typically when I am traveling. I am not stopping and feeding them McDonald's every time they get hungry. Like, that is not happening. I'm also not buying chips every time we stop at the gas station for those kids. So I am the #1 person to pack a cooler and snacks, like every single time. And I pack like juices and waters. I don't usually pack soda. If I'm going to do soda, it might be like when we eat, I might let them have sodas, but I don't typically pack soda. I don't know why. I just don't want to spend money on it, I guess. We have a soda stream now, so maybe this year I'll pack like sodas for them. Who knows what I'll do. But yeah, I usually pack juice and water for everybody. I don't drink juice, so I always drink water. And I drink a lot of water. And then I don't pack coffee. I stop and get myself coffee. Like, if I'm going to be on a road trip, I'm going to have coffee, and I'm not packing it. So definitely snacks, pillows and blankets for sure. In our car, it's like, I'm hot, I'm cold, I'm uncomfortable. So we do have pillows and blankets that we pack. I personally am the world's worst in a car when it comes to sleeping. I've already mentioned it. So I'm like, this is uncomfortable. I am hot, I'm cold. I'm probably bigger whiner than the kids. I'm not going to lie. Pillows and blankets, obviously a must. Like, how else are you supposed to travel? Honestly, if you could put on a sleep mask, that is definitely, I didn't put it on my list, but a sleep mask is a good one. I also bring my headphones, and sometimes if I'm really tired and I need to sleep, I will turn on a sound machine because I sleep on with the sound machine on. I'll pop it in, put on a face mask, and then I try to do a neck pillow and another pillow, and then I try to get some sleep that way. But yeah, sometimes when I want the kids to sleep, I'll turn on a sound machine while we're driving. Oddly enough, we pack buckets of Legos. So my youngest is obsessed with Legos. And so we bought these, like, I don't know, they were at a Dollar Tree. They were like little squares, and you can put your put your Legos on them, and we put them on some of the tables. But my husband was like, oh my gosh, I saw the most ingenious thing the other day. And so he cut one in half, and we took one of those shoebox bins that you can get at like Dollar Tree or Walmart, and we put a bunch of Legos in there, and then we glued the top with the like Lego table thing. And now my daughter has a portable Lego table, and she absolutely loves it. Like, we have one in my car and we have one in his car, and my kids play with it all the time. Tablets, obviously we bring tablets so the kids can listen to music, they can play video games, they can do homework. Like when we were in virtual school, they had their laptops with them so they could do homework. 18 hours, you got to have something, right? You got to have something in the vehicle. So that's something that we for sure pack. And the other little things are just some like tidbits. So one of the things that my sister and I are notorious for doing, and I have mentioned this before just recently, is we bring chips and salsa. I know you're like, you're on a road trip. The number of times that we have brought chips and salsa is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Like, every single time my sister and I travel anywhere together, we bring chips and salsa. And I don't know if it just happens to be a coincidence that we made salsa, because when we're together, we always make salsa together. And it's like, it kills us to throw the salsa away. So we're like, bring it. Who cares? I mean, we've brought it in jars. We've brought it. Okay, so I have all these ice cream containers because I buy like the big ice cream containers for my kids because they love ice cream. And like, we literally pack one of those in a cooler. Yes, like a ginormous ice cream bucket of salsa. I think not last year because my mom drove with me back up north last year. I think it was a year before my sister rode with me, and we literally had an ice cream bucket full of salsa. So my sister and I are flipping weirdos, and we bring chips and salsa, and not like store-bought chips and salsa. We actively make chips and salsa to bring with us on road trips. And then sometimes we have to stop and get more chips because we ate all the chips. Like, no joke. I know, it's the weirdest thing. The other thing that's on my list that I was like talking about is I love to talk business, because then I have my sister and my mom trapped in a car and they can't go anywhere for 18 hours, right? And I try to write business, like talk business. And my mom, my sister are like, girl, we can talk a little bit of business, but like, can we have like family time too, or like do some other things? And I'm like, like the year that we were opening the storefront, oh my gosh, it was such an unproductive business conversation. I was like trying to come up with a game plan. By the way, I've said it before, I have no marketing experience, right? And so I was trying to come up with ideas on how to market the fact that we were going to be opening a storefront. And like, I kept just saying how I wanted these progress pictures, and then it's a joke. Anyways, I think the story would fall flat. It would. So I probably shouldn't even try. You don't want to hear a boring story. I know. Anyway, so that is some of the things that we pack for road trips. Actually, we play some games too. Like, some of our favorite games to play are, we play like a series of 20 questions. Like, it's a 20 question game, but it's like an animal. And so we all think of these like crazy off the wall animals, and then you have to ask 20 questions. We really don't play where it's a max of 20 questions, but pretty much you have to ask yes and no questions until you get to the animal. And we've had to change the rules over the years. No longer can they be extinct. No longer can they be imaginary. Thanks to my husband, he tried to pull a banshee. A banshee is from Pandora in Animal Kingdom at Disney, and I was like, you can't do that. But my daughter, she's pulled out like a tardigrade, which is like a microorganism. I'm like, girl, what? And then sometimes I do silly ones. Like, they'll be like, oh, it's gonna be so hard, and I'll be like, it was a pig. Or a capybara. That was the other one the other day I did. It was a capybara. My daughter pulled out a frogfish. I was like, what? I kept asking her, you swear it's a fish? She's like, it is a fish. And my husband was like trying to Google like fish types so we could figure out what she was doing. I was like, that's cheating. And the other one that my niece actually kind of created, I think she and her OT person did. I don't know what you call them, an OT professional. Is that what you say? I don't know, or OT therapist. They created this game, and you have to like think of a Disney character, and then you have to guess that Disney character. That one is a lot of fun because like we can get some pretty obscure characters. It was so funny because we were playing it the other day. They were coming back from a doctor's appointment, and I was on the phone with them, and so my kids and their kids, we were all playing, and my niece tried to do the coral from Little Mermaid. I'm like, girl, you cannot do that. That does not count as a character in the Disney movie. Like, she's crazy. All right, you guys, I have been going on and on, so I will hop off of here. If you are watching me live, you really should be liking us and following us on Facebook. If Facebook is not your thing, that's fine, because we are on other social media. Facebook is the only one that we are at Perfectly Pastry Bakery. All the other social media, we are at Perfectly Pastry. All right, you guys, do not forget Teacher Appreciation Week is coming up along with Mother's Day, and we have already started booking up for graduation orders. All right, you guys, I am going to hop off of here, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week.